Good afternoon. Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you clearly, ma'am. How are you?
Yep,
Okay,
we can.
good.
Yes.
How's everybody? Healthy?
All good,
Yeah.
Bu.
All good. Alhamdulillah.
We
Okay.
survived so
All
far.
good, Bu. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. All right. So, Alhamdulillah, everybody is good. This is a very unfortunate time for everybody. Unprecedented to our generations, yeah. Anyhow, we'll start the class. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We're starting the international dispute settlement today with, I think, according to the register, it's 9 students, right? I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8. So one person is not here, but that's all right. Lahia, we'll start. I will be your professor for this class the whole semester. And but this is a concentration class or a seminar. So I have to modify the class because we're doing it online. Usually it's a very fun class. I'm hoping this would be also a very fun class. But usually we have a lot of practice, a lot of debate, a lot of muting and all that. But it's I think it would be very hard to do if to do it online. So the organization, etc. So but I think we can do the best we can, and each of you are going to participate uh, because you will be assigned to participate. Yeah. So okay. So my plan was not to teach the whole year, but because of this COVID thing, and then I realized I can still teach via online, which is very unfortunate for me. But again, and then who's going to teach? We have so many, not that many people in the faculty anyway. So this semester we are going to go through the international dispute resolution. They call it international dispute settlements now. I don't know why. It should be resolution because we're talking just the public way of doing it, not the private way. Because our international law in Gajah Mada University is only focusing on public international law, not private international law. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. You guys tell me if you can see the screen. Share. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yep, we can see it, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the page 2 of the syllabus. So the schedule and the assignments. We're here in week 1. So instead of having 2 meetings for ideas, I always, put them into one. So we only have 1 meeting for the whole week, which means because they're changing the meeting timing, whatever. 2 credits is 50 minutes, and we have 3 credits, don't we? So I think plus minus it would be like, I don't know, above 50 minutes. My math is not that good, but it would be less than what we get if we were to do this face to face. So it should be like 75 minutes of some sort, but I'm pretty sure we will all get, really tired before 75 minutes. So I'm hoping, we can get 50, 60 minutes, an hour, a little bit more than an hour, then it'd be enough for all of us. So that's the plan, although most of the things don't go into plan. Right. So let me get to the book. So the book is this one by Merrill's. the title is International Dispute Settlement. Okay, so how are you going to get the book? I know some of you might question that. So this is how you get the book. You go to why are you reading my okay. Okay, now we go to Elisa. Everybody is familiar with Elisa, yeah?
We've used it several times.
Okay, all right. So you go to elisa.ugm.acid, right? You look for my community, komunitas under my name, Linda Yanti Sulistiawati, right? Tidak perlu notifikasi. Okay. You go to Linda Yanti Sulistiawati and then you choose this class, IDS 2020. You choose IDS 2020. And then here is the password is also IDS 2020. So you can apply to be joining to the community. And then if it asks you for password, the password is the same as the name of the community, IDS 2020. Okay. Why is it important? Because you go to reading list and then you'll see your book is there. Okay, the Merrill's book of IDS. Okay, it's only for you for educational purposes. Don't forward it to your friends and families, or don't sell it, because I also don't want to be incriminated because of this book. Okay, and then below the book you'll see the syllabus. Okay, so for the reading list you have all that. Yeah, I see Bita is asking to get in. You actually can just type in the password. You don't need me to approve your joining.
Sorry to interrupt. I tried typing IDS 2020 multiple times. It says password komunitas salah.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, maybe it just because I just put it in, maybe the system is very slow. But yeah, but go ahead. If you guys want to be anggota, you can do it right now. I can just approve it in real time. Okay, so that's your book, yeah. That's your book. Uh, your book is already in Elisa, and this file is also already in Elisa. So first week is this one. We are going to go through overview, and then we're going to go discuss negotiation, and then we're going to do other things that that we need to do in first week, which is pick your presentation date. Okay. And then week 2 is mediation. Week 3 is inquiry. Week 4 is conciliation, arbitration, and the international court is week 6. And then week 7 is ICC. I think the midterm comes after week 5, I think. It doesn't matter, but we are going to go through, I think, 10 meetings. So maybe I have to cut down the international court into one meeting. And then we'll have 10 meetings for 10 weeks. So does this course go through midterm? No. So you guys do not have any midterms. What you have is presentation for the whole entire 10 10 meetings. So we have 9 students. So I'm presenting this first meeting. You will be presenting consecutively from week 2 to week 10, right? Okay. So how are we going to decide who is going to go for the meeting? I already sort of trying to figure this out last night. Okay. So this is page 1 of the syllabus, and the assignment is here. Assignment is for individual effort. Everybody will present for 40 minutes, and then we'll have a Q&A for 30 minutes. And then presenters will be graded based on substance of their presentation, clarity of explanation, significance to IDS, and presentation style and confidence. And Q&A is also graded. Some of you already took my class, probably you already understood this. You'll get extra credit points for asking good questions, which reflects that you also have prepared yourselves prior to the class. Presenters are to submit their file on ELISA 1 day before class of the day of their presentation. So this is the content that I want you guys to include every time you do your presentation, right? IRAC, introduction, rule of law, analysis, and conclusion. Okay, and then the order of the presentation, the student with the highest GPA will get first pick of what week or she or he wants to present. So I don't really know who is the highest GPA in between these 9 students. You can private chat me, and then if you have 4 or 3.9 or whatever, and then you can choose whichever week that you want to present, and the rest of the students is on first come first serve basis. So we'll see again the designated cases that I would want you to present. So next week is the Beagle Channel of Argentina. And then the week after that is Letelier and Monfet for inquiry. And then the week after that is Umbrich for EAC. Every single one of the cases are in the book, right? Or the book will tell you where to find it. Like if you find Victor Umbrich in Conciliation chapter 4, it will tell you the case, or where to find the case in the footnotes. Except for this one, but I think people already know this one, right? Because this is very new, 2018, 2019 for arbitration. And then there's this one, Sipadan Legitan. So if you notice, after week 6, if you choose the later ones, I would want to ask you to include 2 cases in your presentation instead of 1. So if you choose the earlier one, just 1 case, and then you break down into the presentation flow, the IRAC, right? But if you choose after midterm, which you have more time, you have to prepare and everything. So I ask you to prepare 2 cases into 1 presentation. Yeah. So it depends on whatever you want to do. And then you have Yugoslavia, Tunisia, Libya, continental shelf. And then you have here bluefin tuna and swordfish case. And for gut, you have EC hormone case, and then US shrimp case. For the UN, you have the Rainbow Warrior case and Nicaragua. And then for regional organization, you have NATO during Cyprus dilemma, and then the Arab League over Kuwait in 1961. So you can chat me to pick which one you think you would be easier. Remember, all of us will, during your presentation, all of us will listen to your presentation, and then after your presentation, the grading will start in the Q&A. So it's open for everybody. You can ask questions. You can make comments, and I will grade you one by one based on your performance, asking question, and also for the presenter answering the questions. Okay, any questions, guys?
Miss, sorry, I just
Yeah.
want to ask, should we immediately notify you the the kind of presentation, like either it is mediation or arbitration for presentation right now, or you mean?
After our meeting,
Mhm.
and then it would be up for grab.
Okay.
Yeah, after our meeting, you go to Elisa, you chat in the Bale Bale, so everybody can see. Let me see. Let me show you. Yeah.
Okay.
Where's the Elisa? Okay, Elisa is here. You go to Bale Bale here, right? And then bahasa Indonesia, bahasa Inggris ini. Sama aja ya. Okay. And then I started the topic, and you guys just fill in what you want after the class. So you have time to think through what you want to do and listen to me during I talk. I talk during class. Okay.
That, Miss. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Rahma. Any other question? You can also use the raise hand function in WebEx so that I know you have questions. Okay. Any other questions? You guys are okay? Yes.
Bu, can I ask you a question?
Okay. Go ahead, Bita.
Sorry if I missed this information, but since we won't have any midterms and then we'll be doing presentation, are we still gonna have a written final exam?
Oh.
Oh, not also. So like we rely on the presentation.
Yeah. Here.
Not the
So yeah, so look at your screen now. So your presentation is 70% of your whole grade, and then there's another 30% for question and answer, for your performance, blah blah blah, during Q&A, during the whole class. So bonus points is around 30%, but presentation is 70%. So yeah, so it's kind of important to pick the right case that you think is that you think you have good command of the case or cases, and it's not just the case, it's how that case is implemented in the specific IDS that we are discussing during that week. Other questions?
Hello, Bu. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask question about the week 7, the international court. It says the international court for the week 7 is ICC, but is it the Libya Continental Shelf? Isn't it the ICJ case, ma'am?
Yeah, it's well, actually it's ICC, ICJ, and all the international tribunals.
I see.
So yeah, so this we're supposed to be 1 week, but I thought it'd be too long, so I made it to 2 weeks. But I think we have to make it in 1 week. But anyway, the cases stands, so you can choose like international court week 6 or week 7, and then we'll see. We'll see in terms of presentations. We'll see whether we have time to put them into one meeting or else we have to separate it into 2 meetings. But there'll be 2 students doing, one doing Sipa dan Ligitan and fisheries, one doing this. So yeah, so ICC is misleading, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Bu.
Yeah. Other questions? So is everybody okay? Yes.
all good.
Okay, all right. All right. So before we start, oh no, I have to stop sharing. Should I stop sharing this one? Yeah, I should stop sharing the screen. Okay. Before we go to negotiation, I would like to show this video from William Ury. William Ury and Robert Ulrich are like two gurus. Like they're professors from the Harvard School. I'm not quite sure whether they're law school. They're not from law school. They're from anthropology, sociology of some sort. But they introduced the win-win method of negotiation. So it's it's very inspiring. I think I also give you the book in Elisa. You can read their book. The title is Getting to Yes. So they've been in the negotiating sector for a long time, and they've been doing a lot of efforts internationally. So before we talk about negotiation, I want you to watch this video. Everybody can see the dark screen? Yes? Okay. If you can't hear the voice, can you please notify me?
Okay, Mbak, wait.
Audio is okay?
So far I'm hearing nothing. Yeah, I don't think it's audible.
Sorry?
I don't think it's audible.
I don't hear anything.
You cannot hear anything?
Yeah.
That's strange. Okay. So we cannot watch this. Oh wait. Is this because I'm mute? I'm not muted, right?
No, we can hear your voice clearly. But the video
But the
audio.
video cannot. Okay. It happened yesterday too. So I'm just gonna give you the address for the TED Talk. So when you have time, you can watch the TED Talk later. Okay. Did I stop sharing my screen? I did, right? Now, let's just talk about negotiation. Sorry about the video. I don't know why Webex is like that sometimes. Very strange. Okay. Share this one. Okay. So, slideshow. Okay. Can you see my screen? My slideshow? No, you don't see my slideshow screen, do you? I have to share the other one. Okay. Okay, this is better. Okay, so now it's negotiation according to the getting to yes from Ulrich and uh, William Ury. So negotiation, I'm pretty sure all of us has gone through negotiation. I'm pretty sure like Rahma and Bita and maybe Aldina has gone to Malioboro and try to heckle, right? Is that negotiation? Yes, that's a negotiation tactic also. Do we use that in international forum? Sometimes you do, and you see that quite a lot lately, actually. When you see President Trump heckling over to the Chinese government. It's almost similar, like what we do in Malioboro, right? We try to negotiate, but like in a very icky way. If you don't give me this price, I will walk away, right? So unconsciously, that's human nature, actually. So it's a fact of life, negotiation. Everybody negotiates, and you negotiate for something every day. Yeah, you negotiate with your parents, you negotiate with your teachers, you negotiate with your siblings, right? Sometimes in a not very simple way. It's understandable, right? My kids also fight. I also fight with my siblings. So any methods of negotiation may be judged by three criteria: whether they are successful or not successful, right? In producing wise agreement, if the agreement is possible, it should be efficient, and it should improve or at least not damage the relationship between parties. So negotiation can only happen when both parties think that their relationship is valuable. So once one party think like, okay, it's no use, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to see you, you're dead to me, then there's no negotiation room there, you know. Kayak orang yang, you know, diputus itu loh, you're being dumped, you know, there's no negotiation in being dumped. You're already dumped, okay, just suck it up and move forward. Yeah, but like when there is like still text messages and, you know, rooms to discuss, and then there's still negotiation, and then there's still hope for that relationship. Okay, so this also happened in the international level when the parties are states, right? It takes two levels. The first one is to address the substance. The second one is focus on the procedure on dealing with the substance. Like, for example, between Indonesia and Malaysia, for example, they discuss on border demarcation, the substance, and then they have to also negotiate on the procedure of dealing with the substance. You know, like who is going to, you know, draw the map, where are we going to register this border demarcation, and then when is it going to, you know, enter into force, etc., etc. So there are two very important things that you cannot forget: not only the substance, but, you know, the procedure of dealing with the substance. So negotiation is viewed either one or another. So this is the first one. This is the first one that I, you know, said, like people do in, you know, doing shopping, etc. And it's human nature to us, is the hard negotiation. When participants are adversaries, like they're not friends, I don't know you, I don't care, right? The goal is victory, like they want to win, right? The demand, it demands concessions as a condition to the relationship. If you don't give me this price, I will just walk away. So I want your concession, right? And you already distrust the other party, right? You are looking for a single answer, which is the one that you will accept, right? Not the other party will accept, right? Try to win a contest of will. Your will should win, right? And you apply pressure. Like sometimes you see this when the party is increasing their voice, or even standing up, or, you know, trying to do this to the table, and, you know, trying to scare the other party, right? And this is the other side, right? There's another tactic, which is a soft negotiation. Soft negotiation doesn't mean like you're losing all the time. Soft negotiation, it means the approach is softer than the hard one. That participants are friends. You know, when you are with friends, you don't want to negotiate like when you are with people you don't know, right? And you want to have an agreement as a result of the negotiation, right? You want to make concessions to cultivate the relationship. Mau ngalah, tapi ngalahnya barengan. Jadi I give concession, but you also give concession, right? So I give concession, but if you're willing to also give me this, so you know, a tick for toe, right? Be soft on the people and the problem, right? You trust the other. You know that they're not lying to you. You know they're not lying to you about the condition of their people. You know they're not lying to you about the refugee. You know they're not lying to you about, you know, the situation of the climate in their country. You know, you trust them. Even when they say like, you know, they have islands that are inundated by the sea, you trust them. You know, you don't have to, you know, send investigators to Nauru and say whether, oh, they're lying. That's, you don't trust them. So in this case, you trust them. And you can change your position easily because you want to give concessions to the other party, right? You make offers and then you search for a single answer, which is the one that they will accept. And then you insist on an agreement. And then you try to avoid contest of will and you yield to pressure. You actually don't want to create pressure in negotiation. You want to be relaxed. You want to be able to think very clearly, and you don't want to scream at one another. You don't want to scare one another. You don't want to intimidate your partner in negotiation. Okay, there are 4 basic points for negotiation. Separate people from problem. We'll discuss about this. Focus and interest, not on positions. You generate a variety of possibilities. And then you insist that the result is based on objective standards. Right? These are the elements of negotiation. I'm pretty sure you already know this. Everybody had already taken ICN, I suppose, right? Interest, option, alternative, legitimacy, communication, relationship, and commitment. Okay, so this is the first principle, which is separate people from problem. Negotiators on both sides of the issue bring emotion, perception, and values to the negotiation. So no matter who you are, even though if you're, you know, a seasoned negotiator, you still have, you know, a baggage in your, you know, on your back, on your shoulders. You have your own perception, you have your own emotion, you have your own values that comes with you to the negotiating table. Bear in mind that your partner in negotiating also have the same problem. They have the same, you know, baggages. You know, maybe different emotion, different values, etc., but they have the same thing. Number 2 is misunderstanding of personal perception of facts of negotiation may lead to a reaction that produce counter reaction that leads to failure of negotiation. So this is sort of dangerous because when you are entangled in perception and emotion during negotiation, you became confused of what is real and not real. I'm saying that because when you're angry, you will say the best thing that you will regret, right? I'm sure you experienced this. You're very angry, and then, you know, like basically kids now, they're like typing things, like really mean thing, and then they're like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. And then click send, and then, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. Well, that's too late, right? Penyesalan selalu datang di belakang. Kalau datang di depan namanya apa? Oke, sorry.
Pendaftaran, Bu.
Pendaftaran, iya betul. So, daddy's joke. So, yeah, so in my experience, when I'm angry, I cannot think. Right, your mind becomes very clouded, and then you are just you just want to be mad. You just want to do things that you think is right. You cannot value things, whether it's good or bad, whether it would be beneficial for you or not. So, like in the future, when you're a lawyer or when you're in the diplomatic corps, when you're a negotiator, you need to be able to control yourself. That's the first thing. You control your emotion, you control your head, right? So that it doesn't face, it doesn't go, it doesn't easily, so you're not easily being ticked by what the other people are doing. Because some people are, they do that on purpose. They want you to be angry. They want you to, they want you to be confused. So they want you to be angry. So you are confused and you cannot think straight. So, so refrain from that. And then perceptions. Conflict lies in each side's of perception of the problem. Like we can see this now, for example, during this COVID time, right? The president of the United States think his perception that the virus is from China, right? That China invented the virus, and then people in China thinks that the virus is from Minnesota or Massachusetts or someplace in the US. So it's just so many things going on, and then it became like bigger than what it already is, right? And then it became the spice also into the war that's already there, the conflict, the trade war between US and China. So so that's not a good thing, actually, because you are mixing perception, you're including judgment, you're including emotion, you're including everything but the facts themselves. Okay, so the second one here, I think this is very important for a negotiator, for you in the future. The ability to see the situation as other side see it is one of the most important skills a negotiator can possess. So you can sort of empathy. You can put yourself in your negotiating partner's shoes. So you sort of, okay, if I were him or her, what would I feel? What would I do? What would I say? So that's, once you can empathize with your negotiating partner, and then negotiation would be very easy for you. Understanding the other side's position doesn't mean that you agreeing with it, right? Even though, okay, I understand why you think uh Timor-Leste should have the border in that specific area, but you don't say that I agree that you, Timor-Leste, have to have the border in that area. But you sort of, okay, you understand why is, the reason that they think they should do it. And then you look for opportunity to act inconsistently with other side's perception, which may lead to challenge the perception. So you look for loopholes. This is what lawyers are paid the big bucks for, right? So you look for options. You look for things that, that can prove that their perception is not correct. Not that they're not correct, but their perception is not correct. Yeah. And then you allow face saving to reconcile an agreement with the principal and self-image of the negotiation. So of the negotiators. So you do that, you sort of correct them, but you don't put it on their face and say, "Ha, you're wrong. I went up to the hand." No, that wouldn't work. It will cause even more problems in the future. So you do it elegantly, you do it, in a way that, okay, make sure they understand, but they're not losing face of it. Okay, so emotions, again, also very, very important. This is what I would like you to do. You listen without responding when somebody is ticking you off, right? You don't react to emotional outbursts. Like when you're an Indonesian lawyer, most of them, what they use in negotiating tactic is to use very loud voice to get you angry, to get your reactions out. But if you don't react to these emotional outbursts, I think in Indonesia you are already winning 60%. Specifically in Jakarta, right? Jakarta's lawyers, they're very famous for, condescending and then using very loud voice to intimidate their negotiating partner. And then you can use an apology to get that emotion down. But there are types of apologies, and there are apologies that actually do not acknowledge personal responsibility. For example, what we often hear is like, "I'm very sorry you feel that way." Is that a personal responsibility? No. It's like saying sorry, but I'm not sorry. Right? "I'm very sorry that things didn't go the way you wanted." Yeah, there's no personal responsibility in it. So, but it will bring tension down, because at least you're saying you're sorry, although you're not really, saying that you're sorry. Yeah. Okay. So communications is the best weapon that you have. So there are three problems when negotiators may not be talking to each other because they kept on saying the same thing over and over and over, but they actually not, engaging to another, right? The other side may not be hearing you, and that there is misunderstanding. So what you need to do is you listen actively. You acknowledge what the other people is saying, what the other side is saying. So when they're saying, "We want to have 50% off, the price of the house after the divorce," it will be really helpful if you say, "Okay, I acknowledge that your side would like to have 50% of the price of the house after the divorce." It doesn't mean that you agree, but it means that you're acknowledging what they're saying, right? You talk, you don't debate. Because if you debate, you won't get any agreement in. You talk, you speak about yourself and not about them, and you speak with a purpose. You don't flirt, right? As much as you want the other side to like you, you don't want to, speak about stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the case in negotiation. Okay, so you focus on interest, not position. Okay, so the interest defines the problem, which means you identify relevant parties and whose decision do I want to effect. This is what it means. When I was negotiating for the Paris Agreement, the government told me to insert the phrase local communities within the preamble of the draft agreement. So the position is to insert local communities, the phrase, right? Okay. So what raised in my head is like, okay, I have to put local communities in, put local communities in, put local communities in. But really, what is the interest behind that? That's what we need to know as negotiators. Okay? So we need to explain actually our interest, not our position. How do we explain that? Why do we need the phrase local communities to go right after indigenous people, right? Because in Indonesia is a large country with a big population, right? Almost all of them think that they are indigenous people, although, some of us has already assimilated with one another. We're not indigenous, actually. So only people who live, in the forests or in the rural areas, with still maintaining their rituals, still having their area of living, etc., are, being called indigenous people. But there are people who are who moved voluntarily or gone through a government program. It's been moved from Java to other places in Indonesia, right? And they've a transmigration project, right? So they live there, and, in those forests, in those mountains for decades, right? And we still can't call them indigenous people, but they are called local communities. So that's why the government of Indonesia would like not only to have indigenous people in the preamble, but also indigenous people and local community, right? So that's the interest, not the position, right? So, and then you can also tell that each side has multiple interests. So when you have multiple interests, you need to prioritize your interests, right? Which one is the most important one? And also think about the other parties. Which one is the most important for them? Can we trade? Can we have, you get this and I get this, all first priority, and we let go of our third or fourth priorities? Would that be okay? Right? So these are the things that you can prepare in advance before you go to a negotiating table. So you go through all of this preparation and what to say, what to do, which one is more important, which one they think would be more important for us, which one we think is more important for them. We can do this in advance. Acknowledging their interests as part of the problem, right? Demonstrating understanding of what the other party its interests are, right? Like, okay, we understand that you want ABC, but so far, CDE is what we have. Would you be able to only take C and not having to get A and B? And always be flexible but concrete. You are offering things that are really there, not abstract. Like, you don't offer kekeluargaan, you don't offer keadilan, you don't offer those things, but you offer something that is tangible, that is there, that it's very possible to reach. So you invent also for options for mutual gain. Yeah, mutual gains means they get something and we get something. So it would be good to always be creative during negotiation, right? And then insist that results are based on objective criteria. What is objective criteria? Objective criteria, for example, if you're negotiating for a car, in the US, you have a blue book for car. Blue book for cars are like the standard prices of car. It's not your standard, it's not my standard, it's the standard of the country. Everybody's using that. You know, if you're negotiating incomes, for example, in Indonesia we have UMR, minimal regional. Ya, kalau upah minimal regional di Sleman, for example, is like I don't know 2.5 million. You know, you can't negotiate for untuk buruh yang bekerja di pabrik di Sleman under UMR gitu, or GDP or national census. So it's a standard that's been set by prominent body, by institutions outside of the parties that are that generally taken as a standard. So if you can base the results on those, it would be acceptable for them and also acceptable for you. Okay, so this BATNA thing is a terminology that sometimes in negotiation it will come up, right? It's the best alternative to negotiated agreement. When you're negotiating, you need to know what you will do if you cannot reach an agreeable deal. So what is the best alternative, right? You prepare the BATNA before you even begin negotiating. You look for ways to improve, and you also think of what their BATNA is, what the other side's BATNA is. Okay, so this is almost the last slide. Request for proposal is a formal document to invite providers to submit proposal with specific detailed information, right? This you can ask before negotiation. So you sort of know the baseline of what they were going to ask. So, okay, they're going to ask this, this, and this, right? And this is how far we are preparing to go, right? So these are just the things like, for example, what you can expect in RFP. This is the reference where you get the book. Okay. Any questions?
Boo, can I ask a quick question?
Mhm.
For PowerPoints, will it be posted in Elisa as
Yeah.
well?
Yes.
Thank you, Boo.
So all of the PowerPoints will be posted in Elisa, including yours. So once you choose the topic of your presentation, you would have to upload your PowerPoint on Elisa one day before our meeting starts, our class starts, if possible. So all of us will have access, and we can study, we can read what you already prepared, and so we will have a good discussion during class. Okay. Other questions? Rahma, you already have the book. What is the book? What book?
The International Dispute Settlement by G. Merrills.
Oh, okay. It's already in Elisa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Bu. Can I ask a question?
Who's this?
Fauzi, Bu.
Okay.
Okay,
Oji, yeah.
so yes. So you mentioned that you were negotiating for the Paris Agreement. So I want to ask from a practitioner's point of view, how do you handle the let's say uh, the political pressure for the negotiating the treaty? Because we all know that uh, the forum, the diplomatic conference, must filled with political representatives, states representatives. So, from a perspective of the practitioner, in negotiating such agreement, how would you look for such political interest or pressure like that? Thank you.
Sorry, miss, I cannot hear you. I still can hear you.
We can kind of hear you press, I think, a keyboard or something,
Yeah,
but your
yeah.
voice is still inaudible.
Yeah. You're still muted, miss.
Semangat, Bu.
Semangat, Bu.
Sorry, Bu, still inaudible.
Is this audible?
Yes, now we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, international negotiation, specifically for agreements or frameworks or in the state level, are always political or deep. So it's almost never that you go to international negotiation, representing your country without any political baggage. That's BS. So it doesn't happen, right? So that's why in countries delegation, yeah, there's always the head delegates with full powers, right? And then there are like cere-cere, yeah, seperti yours truly here, negotiators who are focusing on subjects, right? I was focusing on the legal matter, and then there are people who are focusing on the international relation. There are scientists also who are, focusing at climate change. There are forester who are focusing on the forestry aspect of, Paris Agreement. So everybody is there in the delegation with their own specific skill and expertise. So whether or not there are political pressures, that's there's always political pressure in international negotiation because you're speaking for your country, not for yourself. And the country would always give you position paper, right? Position paper are position that you take, uh, on the specific agreement. Which one do we hope this agreement will go? Which path? So that position paper are usually confidential, only for the negotiating team and not to trade with other countries, right? So, like big agreements like the Paris Agreement, for example, uh, involve big delegations. Like in Indonesia, there was like 75, 77 negotiators. You think that's big, when you compare it to, even Singapore was sending 150, twice as much than Indonesia. And then from the US, it's like 400 something uh, negotiators. Uh, so it became like an orchestrated negotiation. You don't actually negotiate one by one, but you negotiate in a room because there were like 160 countries, and one country can bring more than one negotiator. They can bring five, they can bring 15. Um, in my experience, Japan, for example, for the preamble, they were bringing 22 negotiators because there were 22 lines in the preamble of the Paris Agreement at that time, the draft Paris. So, and Indonesia had two people, two negotiators. So yeah, so it's a it's an art, it's a skill also, Oji. So you don't actually get that just by not practicing. So you have, by reading books, you have to practice, you have to understand, and like the tactics that I shared with you earlier, they they're not easy to implement. it's not easy to sort of, have a poker face when somebody is saying really bad things about your country. At that time, they were saying really bad things about Indonesia because we were having forest fires, and they were saying that Indonesia does this, make the climate change worse, blah blah blah. But then it's a different regime, right? The transboundary pollution is a different regime with the climate change pollution, the climate change agreement. So yeah, so you sort of have to, go through it. You suck it up and do what you have to do. And this also happens when you're doing negotiation for your client. Your client is asking you as a negotiator because they don't want to do it yourself, but they don't want to do it themselves. Maybe because they don't understand the law, for example, they need you as a representative. But also maybe they're afraid that they will get, very emotionally attached, so they can't think. Imagine they ask you to represent themselves, and then you were there being emotional. So yeah, and you were there, without tactics. So yeah, that wouldn't be very good. So I think in back to the international fora, political issues is almost always there. So how do you balance between political issues and the substance itself, right? How do you represent your country elegantly and eloquently without jeopardizing uh, the substance of the agreement itself? Okay. Other questions?
Thank you, Bu.
Yeah. Yeah. Other questions? Oh,
Somebody can go ahead.
no, I think Bita, you have the floor.
Oh, sorry, I thought I heard someone. Boo and my dearest friends, I'm really sorry again if I missed the info, but we have 10 meetings, 11 including today, if I'm not mistaken, and there's only 9 of us. So does that mean that one presentation session will not be filled by the students?
One presentation session is now, which I'm filling, and we go to the international court. The international court week 6 and week 7 would be, I think, one meeting. So instead of two. So
Right, gotcha. So those two week would be handled by one person only.
no. So yeah, there's only 9 people, right? So yeah, so once somebody already chooses Sipad and Ligitan and fisheries, it means Yugoslavia and Tunisia, Libya would be crossed out, or the other way around.
All right, so like they don't have to do all 4 of them, but they
No,
can
no, just 2. Yeah, just do up to 2.
Gotcha.
Maximum 2. Yeah. Okay. Other questions? No? Everybody is okay with all the syllabus and everything else? Okay. If everybody's fine with it, I'll wait for your inputs on Elisa for the presenter. Just tell me the case and the topic lah. Okay, so that everybody understood, because the week is now confusing. There's week 6 and week 7 that would be merged into one. So just the topic and the case or cases that you choose to present, and then I will update the course schedule so everybody would understand who is getting what. And if the person is not here today, like didn't know the latest information, please let them know. They can directly upload their preference on Elisa, but it's on first come first serve basis. So I cannot promise that you'll get your pick if you don't do it as soon as possible. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll see you next week. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay healthy, people.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Mbak.
Yo, bye bye.
Bu.
Yes, thank you, Bidar. Thank you. Belkis is here also. Wow.
Thank you, Bu Linda.
Yeah, you're very quiet today. Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bu Linda.
Thank you, Bu
Stay
Linda.
safe.
Bye. Stay healthy.
Thank
See you
you.
next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I am right.